What's up, y'all? Tis your boy Dreaded Don here, back to deliver you my thoughts before I bought Dragon Age the Veilguard, man. I think we've all seen how rocky and just up and down this release has been for the game. Some people are loving it, some people are hating it, some people are kind of, like feeling in between about it, and I don't blame them. I can understand it, completely understand it. I guess that's what I'm here for, man. I'm here to deliver you my thoughts before I bought it and give it its full and fair shake for those who are just kind of just chilling, hanging around on the sidelines, waiting to see someone casual's ideas on it, right? So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right on into it. So, with them having a shaky release, man, mainly due to them not really meeting player expectations. If you're coming from Dragon Age Inquisition, Dragon Age Origins 1 and 2, then yeah, man, this game, it's nothing like them. It doesn't have that dark, gritty fantasy feel immersion that you're used to. It feels a little bit more childish on the cartoony side. It definitely feels like they were trying to reach a wider audience with this one. And I get it, completely understandable, but it's going to make your game look completely different than the ones that are already in your series, right? Not only to add to that, they were pulling members from other Bioware developing games to ensure that Veilguard had its timely release. And, you could even say maybe even just rushing it out. And, if you look at the story and what we've been hearing from how the story plays out, some of the companion options, yeah, maybe even just rushed out. Not confirming that was rushed out, but maybe that's how it's feeling, And on top of all of that, to really play on it all, they were withholding some review copies and maybe even perceived to have been given some review copies to people who were going to give them a better review rather than giving it to people who were going to give them a just honest review. And I'm not saying that's exactly what happened, and a lot of people aren't saying that's exactly what happened, but it's perceived to be that way. And it does, when it's perceived to be that way, all three of these things adding up doesn't really make for the best release for your game. Granted, some people are still loving it, some people are still hating it. As I said, I guess we'll just have to see and see why people still wanted to buy it. One thing I have seen people agreeing on, though, is the graphics of the game, man. And while the graphics aren't just a reason to go out and outright buy a game, I think we can all agree that if you enjoy the graphics, and to each their own on who enjoys those graphics, it makes that game that much more enjoyable. If you don't like the graphics, you're not going to want to spend very much time in the game. If you're loving them, you don't mind picking up and playing it for a few. And I think that's one of the main things that why people are picking it up. Everyone seems to be enjoying the graphics, which, if you really think about it, is kind of wild, because we're all used to the darker aspect that Dragon Age provides for us. That allows for that danger and the urgency to really let the story set in and immerse us. If we don't really got that, it doesn't feel like Dragon Age, right? From what I've seen, personally, I think it looks appealing. It does. I'm not gonna lie. But it's not for the reasons that Dragon Age is Dragon Age. It's for it just looking good. I'm like, man, this game looks like it'd be fun to play. It'd be fun to get my hands on. Maybe do a couple builds, see what options people are, complaining about with the companions, see what I might enjoy about the companions, get my own feel for it, and just be like, man, what's this game got to offer me? Because overall, aside from the Dragon Age immersion and the narrative and companion options that are available to us, the game seems to be up to par. I mean, combat seems fun, given that you have a good bit of build variety, and I have heard that, yeah, it can get a bit repetitive, given some of the enemy types are not the types that you want to keep fighting, or once you build the ultimate meta build, you'll be able to just power through anything in the game. But I don't know. I feel like if you like a bit of theory crafting, or or a person who likes to consistently swap around their builds, trying new different things, different synergies between you and your companions, different types of items, replayability, and the different types of stuff that you can go through and use, yeah, then maybe you might end up liking it. I'm a fan of that. I love doing stuff like that. And some would say, nah, man, that's not the way to play the game. That the developers need to add more into it that allow you to have different variety types and that allow those companions to actually be important, or for your abilities to be used, or different types of game mechanics to be used. And I agree, those mechanics should actually be implemented on a better level. But at the same time, you still have to have the ability to go out of your way to theory craft on those adventures as well. Make the game a little challenging for yourself in different types of ways. If you're used to using a certain playstyle in every type of game, blades and daggers, maybe try using a great hammer or a great axe, or figuring out how you can turn that into a speed weapon. I don't know. I'm a fan of turning metas into counter metas, and using the most abstract thing to win the game. But to each their own. Once again, even though I find the graphics and the gameplay appealing, it still lacks the narrative and the story to really get me immersed, man. And because of that, you can imagine how new players are going to feel when they get their hands on this. I've already seen several examples of a few characters who already show that uncreative writing and that poor character companion dialogue, bro. Like, you have to be thorough with this stuff if you want to get characters immersed in this type of setting, especially when you're coming from a great lineage of what Dragon Ages are able to do. Part of it makes me curious about where they actually allow this immersion to take place. You know, and as much as I use that word, I'm curious. Where do you expect new players to get invested in on this game? You know, it can't just only be the gameplay and the graphics. Like, you're not gonna be able to carry a game with that. Where's the story? Why should I care about the people in the world? Why should I care about my companions? What's gonna make me want to actually spend 50 hours in this game and tell my friends about it and tell them about picking it up? We got to know these things. If the only options that are often presented to us are right when we create our character or off of the games that we played in the previous series, that you know, Dragon Age allows for the characters to be transferred from game to game. Yeah, that's cool. But if you're gonna do that, then that gameplay has to have a huge impact on the story moving forward. I want to know how it actually transpired in the world that I'm going into, how it affected my companions, how they're looking at me now, how the world around me has changed, and how they're looking at the person that I've become. On top of that, like, if I'm with a certain faction, I want that faction to have information that pertains to me wanting more knowledge on them. You know what I mean? I want to know how their origin. I want to know why they're fighting for who they fight for, who's the head of the chain, why they're leading the charge, and what their ideals and morals are. You know, like, especially if it's a full RPG title. That's what gets you pulled in. That's what allows you to really sink your teeth into this genre. And man, at the end of the day, some people's favorite characters are going to be another person's least liked characters. You know, some people might love Karlach. Some people might think she's the worst character in the game. Some people hate Gale. Some people want to romance him every time, you know, for referring to Baldur's Gate 3, for example. But that, at the end of the day, is what makes the game so exciting, and sometimes it's so off-putting to people. People want just universal, likable characters. Some people want to have characters that they hate for a specific reason. And at the end of the day, that's when you see and start playing the game, that's what makes the game at least decent enough to play. And it's one of the reasons why I want to at least get my teeth sunk into it. I want to dip my toes in, see if I enjoy some of the characters in the game. Even if the game is poorly written and it has poor companion dialogue, there are still companions that even some people are agreeing that they like, which allows me to know that, hey, you guys like some people in the game. There's some characters that were written well enough that you were able to brush past the cheesy, corny, and often, you know, like, foreseen jokes or, you know, narrative plot that was going to be happening. It's like, all right, cool. I like this character. This is my buddy in the game. Even though everything else sucks, this is my buddy. Sometimes that's enough. That is enough to pull people in, especially if the game has a fundamental overall, just decent play. Good graphics, good gameplay. You guys say that there's some characters that you enjoy, some characters you hate. Hey, to me, that's enough to get me invested. All in all, man, this game has had way too many ups and downs already, and it's first week of it being out for me to just write it off by what other people have said, whether it be good or bad. For them to just be like, oh, I'm not gonna get it because someone else said it's bad, or I'm definitely gonna get it because my friend said it's the best game. No, man, I'm just gonna get it on my own interest alone because I love theory crafting, I love build crafting. All of that is so damn fun to me, and so that's enough for me to get in the game, at least have a little fun action game to play while I've been sitting on other titles. And of course, I'll for sure give you guys my hands-on first impressions as soon as I get it, as well as a final review, because why the hell not, right? If you're already playing it, let me know down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and sub so we can share some more info. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys on the horizon. Deuces.